let's sit a bit. Unlike anything you've ever done before, I'm going to read you a poem at the beginning of your sit. So you can relax and just take it in. You take a couple of gentle breaths to settle into the body. This is a poem by John Rodell. My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And their notes they send to one another always say the same thing. This is all your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down. And on Wednesday, my head lists all of the times my heart has screwed things up for me in the future. They blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights I sneak out of the window in my ribcage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit, 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 sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow, I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focused on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There's no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?" And now, when you feel ready, I invite you to visualize yourself as a clear blue sky. By visualizing, I don't mean you should create a picture of the sky with your mind, but instead feel your entire being to be that sky. Feel the open spaciousness of your mind and see your thoughts as passing clouds. Feel the open spaciousness of the body and see emotions and sensations as they too pass through as clouds. Watch as they float by without fixing upon them in any way, returning again and again to that feeling of vastness. All phenomena arising and passing within this body and mind, awareness as vast as the sky. Continue sitting with this open awareness, and every time you become aware of yourself thinking, simply notice the clouds and silently say to yourself, sky, and return to that feeling of spaciousness. Don't worry if it feels like you're constantly having to return to your sky being. Returning is really a misnomer, since clouded or clear, the sky is always there. All phenomena arising and passing within this body and mind. Awareness as vast as the sky. So tonight's talk is about trust, as I said earlier. Several weeks ago, I spoke with you about shame. I like these key emotions. So for those who weren't here, there's a quick recap because much of this talk stems from the last one. Several weeks ago, many weeks ago now, one of our founding teachers, my sister and I, went to the first No Kings demonstration here in Charlottesville. And afterwards, as we were returning to our car, crossing the street, a pickup truck came toward the intersection and didn't seem to be stopping as we were in the crosswalk. So when it got to in the crosswalk and I could reach it, I slapped the hood a couple of times and said, "Whoa, it's a crosswalk." And I was immediately conscious of the fact that my beloved teacher was standing right behind me and saw me do something that I assumed was wrong, just wrong, because I was reactive and loud even. So I felt shame, quick flush of shame. So that made me think about shame and become more curious about shame. And then I wrote a talk about shame. And I've still been curious about shame, and I've learned a little bit more about shame since my talk, and since you are the people who get to hear my thoughts first on any particular topic. Sorry. Oh, I get to hear them first, yes. Here we are again. So after the talk, several of you, maybe even many, talked with me about why I felt so ashamed. And they thought my response was perfectly reasonable, which made me very happy. And yet, I really had to think about this. Why did I feel so ashamed? And it was because she was there. She's there now. She's right up there on the screen. So, it could happen again at any moment. Oh, there she is. Yep. So I talked with my teacher, that teacher. I talked with several of you. I did some more reading. I thought about it some more. And as I looked into the cause of this suffering, I found several layers. I saw that my suffering came from an expectation that not only could I be, but I should indeed be perfect at all times. I was inhabiting an old, well-worn belief that there's not only a right way to do something, and a wrong way to do something, there's also a right way to be and a wrong way to be. And I am far too often on the wrong way to be side of the equation. And that's how I felt after this demonstration. In fact, I don't actually believe, see this head-heart thing? I don't actually believe that I can be perfect. But there's a part of me that believes that that's the only safe way for me to be. So as I looked more closely, I realized that actually I wasn't ashamed of what I had done. That feels very brave to say right now. I was ashamed because my teacher saw me. I had reflexively behaved in a way that may have been appropriate. I don't know. May have been inappropriate. I don't know. But what I realized was that it was my ego that was feeling the shame. It wasn't a sense of anything other than my teacher saw me. And if someone sees me, then they might notice that they've been wrong all along in thinking that I was perfect. Crazy. Yeah? Anybody else ever feel this way? So glad. Because this really isn't supposed to be a talk about me. It's a talk about us. So I'm hoping you're all with me here. So I also realized again that I have the same misunderstandings about what it means to be a Buddhist. There's a right way and a wrong way. A Buddhist is always kind. A Buddhist is always compassionate. A Buddhist never, ever loses her temper, gets reactive, or even sets boundaries. Not even don't run us over with your truck. And my teacher saw me be reactive, behave reflexively, assertively. My teacher saw me. I've jokingly referred to myself as a bad Buddhist for years. But as is almost always the case, even teasing oneself has a grain of truth in it. It also has a spark of meanness, teasing does. What I've come to see is that it's not just my inner critic giving voice once again to my limitations, but that this bad Buddhist is in fact a tender human striving for perfection, and not only missing perfection, but meeting instead a critic who can only see and fear the dangers of imperfection. This, my friends, is delusion. And also, by calling myself a bad Buddhist, I have in some important but almost invisible way let myself off the hook. It's a way of saying, I can't do it, can't help it, I'm just bad at this. Oh well. All while sidestepping a closer look at what's happened and what story my mind is making up about it. So, thanks to those of you who questioned me about after that talk, and thanks to our teacher, I was able to step back from my reactivity, and look again. And what I came to was the sobering realization that I don't actually trust myself, and that I really want to. I still have somewhere in the dark, deep, dark recesses of my being the belief that I should be perfect, even though that's not one of the available options. And that without being perfect, I'm unlovable. Anybody else? If we're not perfect, we are unlovable. Dang, come on. I carry the Buddha and what I know about the Buddha's teachings with me all day, every day, as I know many of you do. The Buddha didn't teach me any of those things that I just talked about, none. So I've been stuck. Even with all of this study and practice, unable to turn the page on this trust thing. Sharon Beckman Brindley, another one of our teachers, when she speaks of herself as a student of the Dharma, she says she's like a grasshopper or a kindergartner, or that she's on page Roman numeral 9 in the book. The thing is that when she says that about herself, I hear in her voice a gentle humor, a kindness, a tenderness, and an understanding that there's nothing wrong with being a grasshopper or a kindergartner. It's just how it is, because we're human. Me too. So I sit. I sit with the recognition that I'm on this path, and this path is in me. And then I sense a softening around those sharp, pointy criticisms. I can then approach my grasshopper being with the compassion I might offer to some other flawed being. And when I do this, there arises a sense of spaciousness, an inner knowing, and even an inevitability of who I am. I'm a path walker. I'm not a goal seeker. This lifetime isn't a contest. I can't come in first. I also can't come in last. I can only walk the path that's already in me, in this imperfect, extremely lovable being. To paraphrase Chinese Zen master Yunju Daoying, if you want to attain the way, you must be a person of the way. You already are a person of the way. So why worry about the attainment of the way? And Pema Chodron puts it this way: it helps to remember that our practice is not about accomplishing anything, not about winning or losing, but about ceasing to struggle and relaxing as it is. That is what we're doing when we sit down to meditate. That attitude spreads into the rest of our lives. So I'm curious about the rest of y'all. How do you feel about this trust thing? Do you have a deep and abiding faith in your own being and how you are and in your possibly imperfections? What do you know about trust? What do you need to know about trust? What do we need in order to trust ourselves, to trust each other, or even to repair a relationship when trust has been broken? What do we need to trust? Please gather in groups of 2 or 3, talk it over for a few minutes, like 10, and then come back and maybe you'll have something to tell us all about trust. And Brianna will do breakout groups for the Zoomers. Please don't go, you guys. Come on, it's going to be fun. And there's a guided meditation afterwards, which might be really nice. How many do we lose? You'll see. So break into groups of 2 or 3 and just discuss trust. What is it that you need in order to trust? Do you trust yourselves? That was fun. Y'all are very wise. A few more words from me. Sorry, I thought I turned this off. We've learned through the Buddha about 3 refuges. And the Buddha invites us to take refuge in the 3 jewels. And these 3 jewels are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. When we take refuge in the Buddha, we're bowing to the actual human, the historical Shakyamuni Buddha, who attained enlightenment and then spent the next 45 years until his death teaching us all about what he discovered. And when we take refuge in the Buddha, we're acknowledging that the Buddha wasn't a god, wasn't a deity. He was human, just like us. We have the same human mind. We ask the same questions, and we long for the same peace and understanding. We too, like the Buddha, can look honestly, feel fully, and it's possible that we can awaken completely. When we take refuge in the Buddha, we also take refuge in his kindness and compassion. Taking refuge in the Dharma means looking to the Buddha's 84,000 teachings as the truth of how things are. And taking refuge in Sangha, we turn to each other for care, for guidance, and for support. And we turn to each other to offer care and guidance and support. And that's what you, my Sangha, offered to me after my talk on shame. It was very helpful. Thank you so much. Taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha means trusting in them. It means putting our faith in them, allowing ourselves to rest in them. And if we can do that, we can release our tender little selves from the tyranny of perfection. In fact, we can release our tender, striving selves altogether. So much striving. In some ways, I've had it all backwards. Instead of trusting in the teachings, I've been using them as measuring sticks. And since I'm not an awakened being, I don't measure up. Ajahn Sumedho says, when you see yourself in personal terms as someone who needs to get something or get rid of something, you limit yourself to being someone who has to get something you don't have or get rid of something you shouldn't have. So we reflect on this and learn to be the witness, Buddho, that which is awake and aware, which listens to and knows personality, views, and emotional states without taking them personally. The point is not aiming for perfection. The point is putting an end to suffering. So I'd like to invite you to another meditation period. And this will be guided. So this is a meditation that is slightly, but very slightly, adapted from a meditation by Jack Kornfield. So let yourself sit in a way that is comfortable, relaxed, present, both at ease and alert. Feel your body resting on the earth. Allow the breath to settle and quiet. And come into the reality of the present, here and now. The breath breathes itself, and the waves of thoughts and feelings rise and fall like waves of the ocean around the breathing. And now, as you sit quietly, we will begin a visualization that gives you access to the wisdom that you need even in the greatest difficulties. Let yourself think of or remember some circumstance in your life that is particularly difficult. Often it will be involving other people. Let yourself remember being back there in the thick of this difficulty. As you do, let yourself remember and see with your mind's eye just what it looks like and feels like to be in the throes of this difficult circumstance. Notice what your body feels like. Notice the emotions and states of mind that fill you at this time. Notice the level of tension or discomfort and how you are reacting and responding to this difficulty. Let yourself be in the middle of it and remember clearly. You can see and know and notice what everyone else is doing, their energies, and the way the difficulty manifests. See it. Remember it. Feel it. And allow yourself to witness it getting as bad as it ever gets. Notice your body. Notice the circumstances and the states of mind and all that is going on around you now in the middle of this great difficulty. All of a sudden, there's a knock at the door, or a ring of the doorbell. Or even if you're outside, you notice at a distance that someone is coming. If you're with others, whoever you're with, you say, "Excuse me a moment. Excuse me, I have to answer this." And you prepare yourself to go out and greet who's coming. You don't know yet, but here's who will be arriving. In a moment, and not yet, when you go out the door or turn toward whoever is coming, there will arrive a great wisdom figure, a luminous being who carries compassion, understanding, and courage, who will show you how to work with this difficulty. It might be the Buddha or Kuan Yin, the goddess of infinite compassion. It might be Mother Mary or Jesus or Solomon, the carrier of wisdom, or Gandhi. Any figure that is luminous and the carrier of compassion and wisdom may appear. So now turn and let yourself be surprised as you go out to see who arrives. This luminous figure will walk toward you and come right up and acknowledge you and say, having a hard day, and you smile, and they say to you, "Let me help you. Let me show you how I would handle this. You give me your body, so I am inside you, and I will let you become invisible, and you can follow me along." No one will know that the Buddha or the goddess of infinite compassion is within you. So now you follow them back into the difficulty. Notice as they enter how the body feels in entering the difficulty. Notice too the states of mind and heart as they attend to this conflict or problem. Notice how they listen. Allow the difficulties to begin to play out. Let them show you how they respond. Let yourself visualize, imagine, see, sense in any way you can what this luminous being in your body can do to receive and respond and act with wisdom and compassion in this difficult circumstance. Let them teach you. As they listen and observe and respond, let them finish up what they can do for now. And now, again, they turn toward whomever they're with and say, "Excuse me, I have to go out again for a moment." Or they leave these circumstances, whatever they are, and you follow them back to the place where you met them. Now let yourself picture, sense, imagine that they give you back your body and resume their original form. And there, standing in front of you, is this luminous being. Before they go, they reach under their robes to offer you a gift. Let yourself picture, visualize, imagine, think, or sense in any way you can them placing a gift in your hand. This gift is a symbol of exactly what you need. If the symbol of exactly what you need to help you through the difficulties is not clear, hold it up to the light. Allow it to be known. You thank them for the gift, and before they go, they touch you gently and whisper in your ear a few last words of advice, just what you need to understand. Let yourself hear, listen, imagine, think of the words of advice from this wisdom figure to help you through such difficulties. You can know. And as you imagine and receive the wisdom from this figure, carry this, the gift they've given you, the understandings and demonstration of how to enter this difficulty wisely. Pay your respects to them and let them go. Now bring yourself back to the present moment with a little bit of reflection. One of the beneficial and remarkable gifts of this meditation is, for most people, how quickly a wisdom figure will appear. Gandhi or Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama appear within moments. Where do they come from? We carry them within ourselves. We already understand. If you reflect back, remember how your body felt when you entered that great difficulty. Tension, rigidity, fear, confusion, pain. And now remember what the wisdom figure's body felt like as they entered this difficulty. Ease, relaxation, strength, graciousness. You already know within your being how your body would feel to enter such difficulty with graciousness, courage, and wisdom. You carry the wisdom you seek within the cells of your body and the illumination of your psyche and heart. Now remember the spirit that they approach this difficulty. This understanding is within you, and you can manifest it in a beautiful way. Remember as well the symbolic gift they gave you. The images that often come are like dream images, for the deep levels of the heart and psyche speak in symbols. Take this image, whatever it is, the image of a mirror, a crystal, a sword, a heart, a feather, whatever the gift was, and live with it for a time. Let it gradually show you its meanings. At first, some of the meanings may be really obvious, but over time, other dimensions of this symbol and how it can serve you will become clear to you. The words of advice given to you by this wisdom figure are also the words of advice of your own true nature, of the undying Buddha nature within you. Hear these words. Take them to heart. Live with them. They are the wisdom that you need to carry you through the hardest times. Feel free to repeat this meditation as many times as necessary with a variety of difficulties or the very same one. Other figures may come. Additional gifts and information will come to you. And even if you're one of those who cannot visualize easily, allow the intuition, the subtle knowing, the sense in your body, the other avenues of wisdom that come to you, to illuminate the inner sage in difficulties. This is a practice you can return to and be blessed by many times. May it be so. To take refuge in the three treasures, says Master Dogen in his classic Shobogenzo, is to unreservedly rely on them. The only way we can do this is to have profound trust and faith in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. To depend upon them to that degree, they have to be worthy of our trust. This means that we must also have that depth of trust in ourselves, for the three treasures are nothing other than our real nature. Now, a couple of words from John O'Donohue. You have traveled too fast over false ground. Now your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses. Open up to all the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the way of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of day. Draw alongside the silence of stone until its calmness can claim you. That's from his book, To Bless the Space Between Us. He said in an interview, John O'Donohue, Meister Eckhart, 14th century mystic, one day I read in him, and he said, there is a place in the soul that neither time nor space nor no created thing can touch. And I really thought that was amazing. And if you cash it out, what it means is that your identity is not equivalent to your biography, and that there is a place in you where you have never been wounded, where there's still a sureness in you, where there's a seamlessness in you, and where there is a confidence and a tranquility in you. And I think the intention of prayer and spirituality and love is now and again to visit that inner kind of sanctuary. I'd like to dedicate the merit. We dedicate the merit of our practice this evening to the benefit of all beings, without exception, in full measure to each being. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be peaceful and at ease. May all beings be free from suffering.